It's a spinning.
It's a
There
spin.
we are. Okay, we're live. All
Yeah.
right. Hello, family out there. I want you guys to take a minute and welcome our sister, Alisa Saoni. Welcome, welcome, love.
Thank you. Thank you.
And I don't know how familiar the rest of the chat is with you. I know some of them do know who you are. So you want to take a minute and kind of explain how you got into this spiritual community and humanitarian and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, I guess it pretty much started. Anyway, my name is Alisa Saoni, and I have done several shows with Honey C. Golden and a few others, but that's pretty much where I started. And about 9 years ago, everything really pretty much changed for me. I had little things in life like everybody else does, but we're young, dumb, don't want to really pay attention. But this past 9 years has been dramatically different. God kept trying to get my attention, and I was no, no, no.
Yeah.
Everything was too busy. But I was sleeping one night, and I heard somebody say, Alisa, get up, and it was so calm, so familiar. I just responded. I didn't even think about it. I didn't
Yeah.
even freak out. So as soon as I stood up, I had this white light that came down through the top of me, and it went slap through my body. And I looked down, and I could see it's going, into the ground, and I can actually see it's going all the way to Gaia's core. And whenever it connected, she rebounded. So I had an energy coming straight down and an energy going straight up through me. And it just kept getting wider and wider. And it got so wide that I was inside this light. And the vibration of it was incredible. I mean, yes, I was shaking, but it was so blissful.
Yes.
It was very, very blissful. It was like, this is fantastic. It was just like I was just in this state. I couldn't really do anything, but
Right.
I can feel it, and I realized that they're God and Gaia is talking to each other,
Oh,
and that's through the dome. They're finally getting some information through there, and it was like the most profound romance feeling I've ever had in my life. It was like pure love, that
mhm.
longing for something that you've been desiring for in a mate, a companion, that kind of extra feeling of romance. And it was just like that was so wonderful because it was all love, and I'm just like really, enjoying this feeling. But it started getting smaller and smaller and smaller. And whenever it got small, to where I could see where I was at. I was hovering above the grid inside the dome, and there was about 199 other brothers and sisters just like me. I wasn't the only one. There was 200 of us totaled, and we were all these nodes that were bringing in this information to help through the dome. And then whenever I came back, it's like I softly collapsed to the floor, wondering, what just happened to me and everything else. And then God's like, I've been trying to get your attention. So you got my attention, and it turned my hair white. No, no lie, it turned my hair white. That was I guess it was the energy that was running through me. But since then, I've had so much information that has just came to me or been given to me. And I
Mhm.
think it was either, like I tell a lot of people, we have a lot of abilities and talents and stuff in our DNAs. Well, we also have information. We're walking libraries. And I
Yes.
think that whenever that incident happened, either God woke up some things or left some residuals in me.
Yeah.
And, and therefore, it's led me this past 9 years as far as like UFO contact, having experiences with going places with these beings in the physical,
Yeah.
and receiving messages and so forth, and also being encouraged about the unity and oneness and the humanitarian projects. And so it's been and MedBeds facilities. So it's
Right.
been really gun ho. And this past couple of years is where it really has taken off a lot more, because God wants me to tell everybody that this stuff is coming. It's like here now, everything's prepped, ready. So to rekindle that fire in our heart and our soul, to believe that stuff with in faith, not by
Mm.
sight. But we are starting to see some things coming out into the public. So that
Thanks.
means, ooh, this is possible. So there's
Right.
and to prepare us for this stuff, this technology is coming towards us is going to be helpful to all, not just physically, but for the humanitarian projects as well.
Right.
And
So do you think that there's a certain timeline? Because, like you said, it's kind of drip dropping in, and we're starting to see little bits and pieces. We've all been kind of on the edge of our seat because we've been awake a lot longer than society.
right.
So, what do you think timeline humanitarian and starting those? We can do little things now, but like the bigger projects, what do you think?
Well, right now it's like everybody's sitting on the precipice of the currency reset. Okay,
Yes.
that is what's going to help get that domino going. Okay,
Mhm.
because people need their money and funds
Of
for their
course.
currencies in order to be able to do these projects, right?
Right.
So that's whenever we know that people are going to go forward to be able to do this. And once that happens, if you want to donate to a project, you can. You know, if you want to be a part of a project, you can. But if you want to do your own project, you know, that's different. When if
Mhm.
you're doing your own project like I am doing, okay, whenever I go in to do the currency reset, because Zim is mainly for the humanitarian projects.
Right.
I think everybody pretty much knows that. So whatever they give you, let's just say, for instance, is in fact, my brothers and sisters, this is just for instance,
Yeah.
okay, for 100 trillion Zim, let's just say you get $30 million.
Yes.
Okay. And you can pocket that. No worries. You can do whatever you want to with it. But if you have a humanitarian project, they'll match it. And it
Nice.
has to go specifically towards a humanitarian project. And the better thing about this, that if you have some kind of an idea of a project that you want to do yourself,
Mhm.
they will actually, from the currency redemption center exchange, you will get another appointment for those who are going to help you with your project.
Beautiful.
And at that time, that's whenever the ones who have project stuff will have the ability to have access to the med beds first, because once I go in, you know,
Mhm.
it'll wake up, it'll take me back to my original blueprint, but it also wakes up everything inside of me, and then I'll know who my teammates are, and then I have to go get it,
Beautiful.
right? And then they come in and they get woke up in a med bed, so to speak, and then they know who to go get, and so forth, and it keeps going.
Right.
Okay. And that makes really good sense and logical sense that, you know, it's nobody's being forgotten about. Everybody will get their opportunity as long as you got more than 51% of love and service in your heart. You know,
Mhm.
that's your golden ticket. You know, but you still need to raise your vibration. It's like the person that's got a higher frequency will get there sooner than you are. So therefore, everybody work on your frequency and your vibration. Just stay happy, my brothers and sisters, regardless of no matter what.
Exactly.
Just
Yeah.
stay in a good state of mind,
Just go
just
with
to
the
be
flow.
positive. Because whenever you do that, it's like your bubble just keeps getting bigger, and then negativity things can't come around you. Okay, so
Okay. So, what advice would you give anyone out there that's questioning what kind of project that if they want to do one, what's acceptable? We've talked a lot about that on the round table, like what kind of project? What should I do? We know that the veterans and the littles will be taken care of. Should
mhm,
we expand on that? Or and I talked to you in private and you said kind of
mhm,
think outside the box.
right,
Think it's
absolutely.
something maybe that humanity's never seen before.
Right. I mean, just keep going forwards and doing it, because that shows God what your intent is in your heart. You know, as long as you are being of service to people, and even the most smallest ways, just write somebody a nice card and send it to them and say it's anonymous.
Exactly.
And, God knows that's in your heart, and that just keeps us flowing forwards in good moods, things
Yes.
to do, different ideas and suggestions, and it just keeps us occupied while we're waiting for the big things to come into play. You know,
Mhm.
but as long as we continue to do that and keep our vibrations up, we're magnets. It's gonna come to us, and that's what it's doing now. And remember, I told you that the eclipse was a portal, not an eclipse.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, well, the star families that came here, they couldn't really come inside the bubble, because you have to look at, I mean, the dome, because it's contaminated, and they couldn't really come in here because they're higher density beings, right? So,
Mhm.
but whenever the eclipse came around, that was a timed event. It happens every 26,000 years. That whenever that our energy had raised enough, it was a go for them. Now they can come in, and trust me, my brothers and sisters, they came in by the millions. I'm talking millions of ships. Okay, but they couldn't do that before because our energy was not high enough. But now that it is, we're going to get even more help, because they are assisting us with raising our vibration even more. I
Yeah.
think the long goal is we should have all this done and accomplished. Don't freak out, but by 2050. And that just means that that's whenever I think, in my opinion, from what I have experienced, that
Mhm.
that's whenever the dome will come down. Okay, because we have to have healthy, strong, non-toxic, non-metal bodies, So whenever that dome comes down and we get hit with that flash, it has to go slap through us. That's God's pure light, and it has
Right.
to go through you. And if you have any of that stuff in your body, then it's not good. Okay, it's not
So
good.
is that turning us into what we call a crystalline body or just bodies of light? Like that's our transition period.
Well, some will turn into bodies of light, but we're going, the majority of us is going to be the crystalline bodies.
Mhm.
And that those who have passed before us, they have light bodies, but they also have a crystal body, not just crystalline.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
crystal. And but we are going to be able to take our bodies with us this time. This was a grand gift that God
Mhm.
has given us to be able to take these bodies with us. Okay, so and this is a timed event. But the thing about it is that we need to get to all of our brothers and sisters to the med beds so that we can get all of their bodies healthy,
Mhm.
younger. You know, you don't have to go back to 25. You can go to 40 or whatever, you know, but whatever it is to make you a strong, healthy body. That
Right.
way we work together in these projects, but also, um, I don't know if you're familiar with the photon belt.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, well, the photon belt is 2,000 light years across. Okay, we
Wow.
hit that photon belt in 2012. Okay, that's what the Mayans were talking about, the golden age.
Yes. 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 Okay. All right.
But we ride a wave, 1,000 years to the top of this wave, and then 1,000 years back down.
Okay.
Okay, and as we are riding that roller coaster up, the
Mhm.
frequency gets higher and higher, and it will get to a point where the dome can't be just sustained. God's more powerful, and it will
Wow.
pop like an
Right.
opera singer breaking a glass. It will pop. It will just, and that's when we'll get that flash. And
Wow.
that's the reason why we need our bodies to be prepared for that, because we do have a lot of family that's outside of the dome that is
Mhm.
there waiting for us for this moment to happen.
Yes.
You know, and but the priority here is to wake our brothers and sisters up, you know, get them to raise their vibration and have that love exposed more outly, not just inwardly, and then, you know, get us all to a med bed so that we can get all of this accomplished and um, do our humanitarian projects, because
Right.
there's a lot of things that needs to be cleaned up and stuff like this here. So I figured between now and 2050, you know, if that's a good goal, you know,
Yeah.
you
Oh,
got
yeah.
four billion people working together, you can get a lot done.
It's really not that far away when you think about it.
Right. But I do think that between now and 2030 is our prime pocket.
Okay.
Okay. Because that's what I'm saying. These things are coming out into the public. We've already seen the mechanical type ones that they have out there, you
Mhm.
know. I'm not going to say they're good or bad or whatever, but at least they're putting it into people's mindset to
Exactly.
believe in these things. Okay.
Mhm.
To waken up their conscious that, wow, this is actually possible, you know. So to help prepare them and plant seeds and so forth. But the mechanical ones are man-made. Okay.
Okay.
But these ones that we're going to be using, they're not. They're holographic. Okay. They're technological, advanced um, machines. They're not really a
Right.
machine. It's more of a holographic. It's more spiritual, and they're
Okay.
definitely quantum. Okay. So you can tell the difference between the mechanical one or the car compared to the flying car. you
Oh,
can,
of
you
course.
can tell the
Yes.
difference. But we have to start somewhere, right? So
Yes.
if you go to these med beds that are out here that are available right now, then my brothers and sisters, go with so much love in your heart, because it's the belief factor. I mean, even though you have to pay for this stuff here, it is like a placebo thing. You
Mm.
have to believe that these things are actually capable of doing what they can do to you. Okay,
Right.
because everybody has a belief factor, but some people, they don't want Walmart shoes. They want the name brand. So they're willing to pay money for that name brand. Okay.
Yes.
Even though they're the same shoe,
Yeah. Yes.
they just feel that that's what they need to do. And that's okay, my brothers and sisters. That means that that's something inside of you that makes you happy, makes you content for your belief. Okay.
Right.
So, but just remember, whenever you go to do stuff like this here, it's your belief that makes the magic.
Well,
Okay.
now the quantum med beds, the bigger fancy holographic ones, as you said, now those don't cost anything,
No,
right?
those are free. That's a
Okay.
gift from God and all of us. They are absolutely free. That's the reason why there's the ones that we pay for now that's out here on the market and stuff like this here, and that's okay. But then there's
Right.
the free ones that are coming. So I look at these ones as the pre, because they're getting us used to the idea, and
Mhm.
people, you know, wanting them to believe. I mean, wanting them to work. So it's a great threshold to what we're going forwards in. And this reason why they brought these things out is because the bad guys don't want us to believe in that stuff. They want us to believe in the mechanical. You see, the
Yes.
mechanical, not the spiritual or the quantum.
Right.
Okay, but they're damn good stepping stones. Simple as that.
Well, almost everything in our lives has always been about division and keep us arguing with each other, and we're just conspiracy theorists. But there's a difference between that and faith. When you know that you know that you know, it's just there.
That's exactly
Just
right. So, and a lot of people are feeling that, we just know it, you know, and I'm really proud of my brothers and sisters and everybody that's helped raise their vibrations because, the more we do that, we succeeded in bringing down an ice wall just on our vibration and
I
frequency.
think that's amazing.
Okay. And then we helped a portal bring in millions of ships because of our frequency and vibration. So, I mean, what do you think's after that, my brothers and sisters?
Well, I can speak
Bigger
for,
things.
I guarantee you I can speak for everyone here and in the chat room. We have been working very hard to get ourselves to raise that frequency and have no fear and
Right.
no worry and just keep it up. Laughter is huge
Yeah.
and
I mean, I dance to my
positivity.
mailbox and I don't care who don't like it.
There you go.
But I
There you
do get
go.
a lot of better responses, whenever somebody catches me dancing, they start doing their little thing. And I say, look at there. How
There
about
you
that,
go.
and just different things you can do just to keep in that wonderful state of mind. Look in the
Right.
mirror and tell yourself how wonderful you are, how beautiful you are,
That's
how
right.
you deserve it. You deserve this, my brothers and sisters. I am your mirror reflection telling you,
That's
you
right.
deserve this.
Do you
So
remember when we talked in private? I introduced you to what I tell everybody: don't stop spitting on the mirror because you're spitting on your creator when you do it. You've got to love yourself, minus the
absolutely.
toothpaste that gets spit out every once in a while.
That's right. And talk to your heart. They say that people pray like this here and stuff, but you should really be, focused down here and talking to your heart. That's where you are. Believe it or not, there's a little you sitting inside your heart.
Yeah,
And somehow you let this vehicle take control instead of you taking control. But
right.
sit down in your heart, that's the throne of God. Sit in your heart. Okay.
Mhm.
And be the driver of this vehicle and choose to be in better moods, happier states of mind, as they're called. And while you're doing that, that's whenever you have better contact, especially with our star families, because
Yeah.
they can relate. It's like all of them are about like a 6 hertz and we're
Mhm.
at 5 hertz. So we just need to raise it a little bit more because we've
Just a
done
little.
so well. So believe me, my brothers and sisters, this is phenomenal that we have accomplished this much because there has just been so many different things that's happened in the past few years. From them talking 2 years ago about cracks in the dome, you know,
Uh-huh.
yeah, and now people are actually seeing more UFOs and
Yes.
encounters and having experiences personally and stuff like this here. That's because we are shifting, and it's like we're walking through an invisible wall or something and joining that dimension. And a lot of
We
us
call it
walk
a
one
veil.
foot in and one foot out too.
Yeah, yeah. We call it a veil because
A
it's just
veil,
like
yeah.
it's really thin. We know they're right there, and a lot of
Mhm.
us have seen them. And
Right.
we're talking positive
Hmm.
galactic families. We're no nothing nefarious or anything like that,
Right.
because
Yeah.
we know that nefarious ones have had their turn here, as far as we
Right.
know.
Well, the
That's been
photon
clean,
belt is pure light and it's so positive, nothing negative can go there. Nothing. So I
right?
want all of you, my brothers and sisters, think about this, okay?
Mhm.
Uh, our star is hauling ass and it's trying to get to the photon belt. That's
Yeah,
its goal. That's its mark. That's the finish line. And now you got all these bad guys that are in tow, which was really a Star Wars. Okay. Those bad
yeah,
guys are trying to take us down and do a lot of damage to us so that we didn't reach that photon belt successfully, or at least with few people because they wanted to destroy us. Okay.
yes.
But they had the Galactic Federation and so many others from the galaxy and from Andromeda came in. I want you to think about this. Our Oort cloud that surrounds our star is about 1 year light, 1 light year out, all the way around. It's like a bubble. Our star is inside of a bubble. Okay. Now they had so many ships come in by the trillions that
Wow.
surrounded our star. Okay, like a cage, and was keeping pace with the star while this war is going on, just to make sure our star reached the photon belt. Okay.
Wow.
And
That's
I
an
just think
army. That's an
seriously,
army.
and
Yeah.
it was incredible to see that so many different races, so many different beings came to help us succeed
Yeah.
to get across that. And as soon as we got across it, they couldn't touch us. None of that evil stuff can come inside the photon belt. And the only thing that is bad is the minions on the ground here. That's because they're trapped inside the dome.
They're trapped.
Right.
Yes.
But once this dome comes down, that's it. I mean, their ticket, they're gone. There's no
Right.
ifs, ands, or buts about it, because no negativity or anything bad can enter into this space, which a lot of people would call it heaven. Like each galaxy has its own little heaven.
Mhm.
It's not the main one, but it's a small one.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So now you've mentioned before on some of your other interviews about 4D wars, that was a
Yeah.
real thing. And a lot of people have
Absolutely.
talked about Tolkien's books, The Lord of the Rings, and it's kind of like that. So
Mhm.
can you tell everyone a little bit about maybe how long ago it was and what it was over? Who were we fighting, or if we were a part of it?
That was about 2,000 years ago, because we go in 2,000-year cycles.
Okay.
Okay. And this is the last of this 2,000-year cycle.
Okay.
Okay. And this is, we're saying we're on the upscale where we're going to win positive. Okay.
Right.
But a lot of people has heard of Inner Earth or Agarthia,
Mhm.
and Talos and stuff like this here. Well, before Agarthia became Agarthia, there was the 4D wars. Okay. There was just like us. There's some that's going to go to 5D, and the other ones were to stay in 4. Okay.
Right. Right.
Okay. But whoever wins that battle reigns supreme in their realm. Okay. So whenever that battle was won, that's whenever it became Agarthia, because they got to go to 5D. And below them is Talos. Okay. They're a higher density being too. And at the time, they were 5 and we were 4. They were 4. But everything shifted. Now they're 5 and Talos is 6. Okay.
Oh.
As you go into the earth, it goes all the way down to the most positive, 5, 5, 6, 7, 8, all the way down, just like it went out. It
Mhm.
doesn't matter if you go in or out; it's the same thing.
Okay. Okay.
so, and we can also do that with stars. We can go slap through stars because they're actually portals and they're information hubs. So,
Oh.
and I love telling this to a lot of people. I don't know if you know it or not, but the stars are the males and the planets are the females. Okay. And he shines his light down on her and fertilizes her in every way. And she gives birth to everything because of him. And it is a wonderful, whenever you start looking at it in a romantic kind of way,
Mhm.
this is God showing us, Mother Earth and Father God, which is, we're going to use the sun right now. This is the romance that they have going on. And
Yeah.
this is their purpose. Just like animals out there, they want to create, they want to
Yes.
multiply. Well, the same thing goes with the stars and the planets. And I understood it better whenever I had that connection between Sol, our star is called Sol, SOL,
Yes.
and Gaia. And it made me realize that this is a partnership. They're making love in a way that we don't even understand.
Right.
you
Yeah.
know, so, and that's what all stars do. Their purpose is to have that female in order to reproduce and to make life. Okay.
Right.
We just happen to be some of that on this planet. So there's other worlds out there that has life on it as well, but this is what humans look like. So,
Yeah.
so
So our son, Soul,
mhm.
used to, there's many of us that know that used to be very yellowish in color. Now it's a very bright white. Is
Right.
that because of the photon belt? Or is that our energy? Did we have a fake one before? That's been a huge
Well,
question.
yes. Well, they had us with the yellow one, or should say the orange one back in the
Mhm.
day. That was a brighter orange, but and then turned yellow, and they kept us underneath that. Okay.
Yeah.
But once we hit the photon belt, they could not lie to us no more. Our star is white. Okay,
Right.
is considered like a white dwarf almost. Okay.
Okay.
It was like a dwarf yellow
Mhm.
star, but now it's a white. It's any star that hits that photon belt instantly turns white. I don't care.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, but stars, because we don't get to see the truth of what they have out there, the stars go through phases just like we do. If you look at the color of the star, you'll know what chakra it's in.
Mm.
Okay.
Okay.
So, and they don't show us the green ones because there really are green stars.
Because of the heart
And our
chakra.
star was green when it hit the photon belt.
Wow. Wow.
So, they're not going to show that on the ceiling of the dome,
Right.
because that's the heart stage. It's
Yeah.
in that chakra there, and then we get this break that shoots us all the way through because
Mhm.
we hit the photon belt. So therefore we go to the top tier because the whole goal was to get here
Right.
and succeed. So, but any star that hits the photon belt turns white.
So what would we consider our moon? Is it just a rock? Is it plasma? It fake?
It
You
is
know?
fake. It's actually a ship.
Yeah.
Okay, it's been there for thousands of years, and that's how big this sucker is that it can affect things here. Okay,
Right.
but it's outside the dome. It's outside the dome, but then they have something inside that covers it as it moves, and that would be the moon. Okay,
Wow.
all right. That way we can't never see it, but it is a type of plasma projection. But it is a massive ship, and it was being controlled by the Greys, which are no
Mhm.
longer anymore. Because, like I said, once we hit that photon belt, nothing.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and even that the Anunnaki, I'm really, really proud of the Anunnaki because their star, which is Nemesis, which is the twin star to ours,
Mhm.
it's smaller, but it's just as powerful. Um, of course, it has to hit the photon belt too. And the
Mhm.
Anunnaki knew this 100 years ago.
Okay.
And they're like, oh shit, we got to get our shit together because we're hitting that photon belt.
Right. Right.
So they started making amends and they started cleaning up their karma. They started actually making a difference. And they
Okay.
did help the Federation, the Galactic Federation, and protecting the star and everything because
Mhm.
their star was in tow too.
Okay.
And they couldn't, their star wouldn't have made it and they couldn't be here now if they weren't good because they're outside the dome. They're not inside the dome.
Right.
Okay.
So we've heard a lot about planet Nibiru,
Nibiru,
and
yeah.
that's their home.
Yeah, that's their home. It's Nibiru.
Okay.
Nemesis actually has 5 planets around it. Only 2 rocky ones, and 1 is theirs.
Okay.
But it's very cloudish. It's very covered with clouds
Mhm.
because it is so far, and it has to be closer to its star because it's smaller and it's not as
Right.
powerful as this one here. So they would actually be closer to their star, and because they're closer to their star, because they have a lot of volcanic. It's a perfect representation of the Vulcans. Okay, think about that.
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
in that kind of world, but it's clouded because they have so much volcanic activity that happens on that planet. Even though they have advanced, it's a functioning planet. So, and
Right.
that's the reason why they needed gold to put into the
The
atmosphere is
atmosphere.
to bring the light in, as because it was so clouded. Instead of
Right.
fixing the clouds, they just wanted to take gold. so,
So there's good Anunnaki, bad Anunnaki, or they were bad before and have turned good. Is that kind of how it goes?
Well, they were one, and then they
Okay.
split. That would be the Anunnaki and the Wananaki. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Wananaki being the good, Anunnaki
Okay.
way bad. Okay. The American Indians and stuff talk about the Wananaki. Okay.
Mm.
And just like the Tyrians before they got split, the Tyrians and the Tartarians. Okay. And the Tyrians went bad, and then the Tartarians, well, there was a mixture, but still they're good now. Everybody's good now. So we don't have to worry about any of that as far as that goes because we're inside the photon belt and no evil or negative thing can exist inside of it. And guess what? If we don't fix ourselves and the dome comes down, we ain't gonna make it because
Right.
we got all kinds of shit going on with us.
Right. Well,
So,
we can't guarantee 8 billion people on the planet. Everybody has to take
no.
care of themselves. That's free will, and
Right,
you're
exactly. It is
responsible.
individually. It is
Yeah.
individually. There's not really 8 billion of us. There's only about 5 billion of us. And they
Mhm.
tell us it's 8 billion because they want us to think lack. There's not enough, you know,
Right.
and that
Right.
puts stress on us because there's 8 billion people. Well, there's
Yeah.
really about 5 billion of us. And I would say a little over 4 billion, about 4 point maybe 5, maybe 4.5 billion will actually make it. The rest of them will not because
Right.
they are the AIs or the reptilians or
Hmm.
the hybrids and stuff like this here.
Right.
God has even told me that the clones, He will take back the clones
Okay.
because a lot of people don't realize it, but family members and friends too, they have murdered these people and replaced them with clones just to be the alcoholic, the
Wow.
troublemaker, this, that, and the other thing, to cause these problems, to keep families so stressed out. And
Yeah.
God says the vibration and the frequency is raising, and it'll get to a certain point because clones don't have a soul. Okay,
Mm.
they're just a copy of the other person, but they have a chip in their head to where they can be controlled like puppets. Okay,
Right.
but the frequency will get to a point where that chip won't work anymore. God's going to take
Mm.
care of it. And God said, as soon as that chip is fizzed out, then He's putting the soul back in that body. He's
Beautiful.
taking back those clones. He said, I will take what you took from me.
How good is our God? Because He takes
I
all
know.
things negative and makes them beautiful.
I
He makes,
know. It made me feel so good. It's kind of like, wow. So he's not even forgetting about those brothers and sisters. He
right.
understands that they were murdered. You know, so it's like God's pretty
That's
good.
mercy and grace. That's a
Yeah,
love that you can't explain with any kind of
exactly.
language.
But these souls are coming back in, very knowledged.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
So when we start humanitarian, and what does our new world look like to you? Like,
Uh,
as we build it, I know it's going to take time and we've got a lot of
yeah.
projects, a lot of work to do, but we're going to do it with smiles on our faces.
Well, I can tell you what my first impression was when I seen Tartaria. It
Mm,
definitely made me think of Wizard of the Oz or Wizard of Oz.
yeah.
Yeah, because there's a lot of crystal there, a lot of crystal buildings and so forth. It's very beautiful. It looks very futuristic, but fairy tale-ish.
Okay.
It's incredible. They have flying cars. They have the mag labs that people have heard about. These really high fast trains, except they have
Yes.
a more advanced version of that. But I seen quite a few of them up in the air. It's kind of like it can go around the city.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know, it's really, really beautiful. And the way they do it, it's beautiful. I mean, you can't say, oh, that's ugly. Like they would have railroads here.
Right.
No,
Oh,
this is
yeah. Yeah.
actually
Yeah. Mhm.
streamlined, very clean looking, and you can zip around. And they also have them underground. You can get from there to here, just like that.
So are
Um,
these like anti-gravity? Would they just hover? Is it based on frequency, you think?
oh, you mean the mag labs?
Yeah, any of the, yeah.
Well, the mag labs are like trains, except they ride on top of a magnet.
Okay.
Okay, and what it does is that magnet is a whole bunch of rows of them. Okay, but except this advanced technology, and as one turns on, the one behind it turns off, and it keeps pulling it, and it gets so fast
Got it. Yeah.
and it floats. Okay, and
Yeah.
that's why it can go with no problems.
Wow.
And but they are very sleek looking. I've seen some flying cars. I've even seen what would I call that? To me, it looks like something like the shape of a jet ski, except it's like a
Okay.
flying motorcycle, and it actually has a little force field shield that goes around it, where if it rains or whatever the heck, and it
Okay.
just zips, just zips, just zip it
Wow.
on by. It's like everybody seems to know what they're doing. But they do have flying cars too. I'm not going to say they look like the Jetsons cars, but
Right. Yeah.
but they are futuristic looking, and they're more like little shuttles. That's the only thing that comes to mind. But they can also fly themselves. You don't have to fly them. See, they can trust their technology. We can't trust these
Oh, no.
self-driving cars here. Okay,
Mm-mm. No,
so
no, no. So do you think things like the Wizard of Oz, and you talk about the Emerald City kind of looking
mhm,
like that, or the
yeah.
Jetsons and all of the movies that are put out there, Star Wars. So do
Mhm.
you think the so-called powers that be, they know that this stuff exists and that's who comes up with the ideas for our entertainment, so to speak?
Well, I mean, a lot of people understand that the gladiators were created to distract the people. Let's give them shows and give them beer, and they'll be happy.
Mm-hmm.
Let's give them games. So, and that's pretty much what they were doing to us.
Right.
Okay, but now that we are awake and the ice wall is down and the Tartarians are involved,
Right.
that's going to be a big influence on us. Now, a lot of this technology with the MedBeds, the replicators, the reverse replicators, the trash can thing, all of these things are going to be brought to us from Tartaria because they already have it. It didn't have to
Right.
come in. Now the Lyrans and the Palladians did bring in this technology, but
Okay.
Tartaria is the one that's been creating all of these things for us. Okay,
Beautiful.
and there's billions of those over there. There's more of them than there is us.
Wow.
Yeah, there's about 9 or 10 billion of them compared to our 5 billion. Yeah.
So are they related to, or is there any connection, or have we all been studying hogwash, like Atlantis and Lemuria? Are they real, or what are they, what we think they are? They've just fallen cities. Did they have a war? Do you
Yeah,
know
they did
anything
have a
about?
war. They had their own 4D war.
Okay.
Okay. That's another level. While it was on the surface, think about Agartha underneath the surface,
Right.
Atlanta and them on the surface. Okay, they were having their 4D war, and what happened? It didn't go good.
Yeah.
Okay, bad guys had won that one, but the one
Yeah.
in Agartha, the good guys won. Okay, and
Okay.
because it was such a catastrophic event, they both got rid of themselves. But the survivors, there is some survivors out of that are still here to this day. Okay,
Yeah.
I hope that anybody has seen that movie called The Abyss. It's an older
Yes.
movie.
We've talked about that quite a bit on our
That's
show.
a good
Yes.
representation of the Lumerians. Okay,
Yes.
and
Okay.
and if you've seen that movie Aquaman,
Mm-hmm.
the it's like that would be the Atlantean type.
Okay. All right.
Okay, okay, because the Abyss ones, they went more spiritual and they
Yes.
evolved, where the Atlantean ones looked like fish people.
Right.
Okay, so
Okay.
that Aquaman movie, I really appreciated it because they did show a lot of the cities and stuff that they actually do have down there, and how they do have these domes down there too, so that the people like us who breathe air can just pop
Mm-hmm.
and walk around.
Wow. Well, it's just like that the recent the King Kong Godzilla and going into Middle Earth, and now
Mhm,
that they had a moth or butterfly queen or something like that.
mhm.
And it just makes you wonder, they know something we don't.
Yeah.
So is there a lot of activity you think still going on in Argotha? We've called it Shambhala before, that was
Shambhala too, yeah. No, 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 it's not because they're not in the dome. We are.
okay.
Okay, so Gaia is.
You have your model with you, I
I
hope.
do. I have my model.
Okay.
Okay, here's my
This
model.
might explain flat Earth dome versus the real huge.
Right
Yeah.
now, we're going to put the land at the top. It moves, so I can't really
Right.
change it. But the Earth is truly 600,000 miles around. Okay, we're inside of a dome that is 100,000 miles around, and we are slap dab in the middle at 25,000 miles around. They're
Mm.
wanting us to think that we live on this little tiny planet, whenever that's not the truth. And she spins the opposite direction. We're supposed to spin clockwise, not counterclockwise.
Wow.
Okay, so that's like putting the brakes on, somebody riding the brakes.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
but you can see that she has water all in her center, and she has land on the top and land on the bottom, and there is some islands in here. This is where my island is in the middle. Okay, see
Beautiful.
on the island. But it's an absolute. She is called the blue diamond of the universe for a reason. Okay,
Wow.
but if you can just see the land on the top and land on the bottom, she makes me also think of a Christmas tree ornament that has a top
Mm.
and bottom piece to it.
Yes.
But she is absolutely beautiful. She is a blue pearl, is what they also call her. But that's
Beautiful.
how big it is. This is called the big lie, my brothers and sisters. The
Yeah,
big lie.
that's unbelievable. So we can stop fighting flat or round Earth. She's
That's right.
both at this point because there
Yeah.
you go.
If
Yeah.
you're inside something that's 100,000 miles around, and the way it sits is about like that, because it's
Mm-hmm.
three of these going across. It's about like that. So if you're in that area, you can see that it can be perceived as flat or
Yes.
round. Okay,
Yeah.
and they even separated us on that. When they're
Yeah.
this is the answer right here. They just don't know how big it is.
Mm-hmm.
So
Right.
she is a super Earth. She's a super Earth, and it makes sense because I mean, why would we have the Earth is I don't know 1,000 or 100,000 times bigger than the planets. The planets are not small. It goes for Mars too. Mars is not a tiny planet. She is the
Right.
twin to Gaia. So
Mm.
she's actually pretty massive. They make us think that she's small, and they also make us think that these other planets are so far away from us, and they are not. They are
Right.
not that far away. And they did that because, well, it's going to take a lot of money for us to go that far.
Oh, of
They don't want us to
course.
see how close these things really are, because back in the Sumerian days and in the beginning part of the Egyptian days, before Saturn had rings, okay, it was just beautiful, just a round ball. And Saturn and Venus and Mars would line up in the sky, okay, and it would look like an eye, okay.
Okay.
A lot of people called it the Eye of Horus.
Horus. Yes,
That's
we've
where
studied
Egyptians
that.
get it from. But
Mm-hmm.
this is how close they were that we could see these things line up. And then they put up the dome. Now we don't see. It looks like now they're millions of miles away. But they
Right.
are very, very close. That if you go look it up, you can actually see. Look up the Thunderbolts project and
Okay.
the Purple Dawn. That is an excellent, excellent explanation of how all this came to be, because they talk about how they could see the planets go by with no effect on the Earth other than just light shows, in other words. But
Wow.
yeah, it was Saturn and Venus and Mars, and then at other times you can see the other ones, Jupiter and stuff like this here. They were like further away, but still they're close enough that we don't need telescopes like these idiots to try to get us to look through
Right.
this here. And yet we're looking at nothing but a screen whenever we are looking at it.
Right. Yeah. It's the perception. Well, NASA's got to make money one way or another. And that's the biggest joke there ever was.
Yeah, and NASA meets Satan. If you look that up, that's a meaning.
Deception. Yes.
Deception
In
and Satan.
Hebrew, it means deception. So, yeah. So do you think there's any other planets that we don't know about or haven't been told about?
Okay, yes, there is. It would be quite a shock to a lot of people. We have about 39 planets in our solar system that are
Wow.
livable. Okay, and how many? Okay, 16 were brought in by other races. It's kind of like some of them didn't bother bringing the car; they brought the whole planet.
Oh, wow.
Okay, and they're all here for this massive. Seeing this, they're
Oh,
all
okay.
here to see this. Now, there's, like I said, about 15 or 16 of them will eventually go home, but we do have a lot more planets than what we're being told. Okay,
Okay.
and that's going to be like the Tartarians are going to bring that new, well, the true astrology and astronomy and all that kind of good stuff to us to help us, relearn all this kind of good stuff. And they're also bringing all that technology to us to, make us get adapted to it over
Right.
time. We can't bring stuff like that out on the field with bad guys still out there.
Exactly. Right. So are all the other planets benevolent? So they're good, they're positive.
Yeah, we're all inside the photon belt, so absolutely.
I was going to say if they wouldn't be good, they wouldn't make it to the
Well,
photon.
inside the photon belt, you can go from one dimension to the other. It's kind of like you graduated, you get to go do whatever.
Right.
Okay. But these other higher density beings in their worlds, they're inside the photon belt. They can actually come to us, because there's no holds barred inside the photon belt because it's all good. You can't
Right.
do that outside the photon belt, but they can do it. And that's what brought in these other planets. They want to see this stuff live.
Yeah.
And they're here to help and support and energy wise too, not just for Earth, but for the entire solar system.
Yeah.
You think it's hard just doing just Earth. Imagine you're responsible for 30 something planets, and
Mhm.
gas giants and everything else. So,
So is it multiverse? Would you call it a multiverse that we have multiple universes?
Oh,
Or
absolutely. Yeah.
okay.
There is always, a line of you in front of you, a line beside you, a line behind you, and the other side of you. Those lines, and you are moving along those lines of yourself. And it's based on your vibration. It's based on your thoughts. It's, thoughts are the language of the mind, okay? And emotions are the language of the body. When you can
Right.
get those two in sync, then you are moving in the right direction, okay? But it's all based, you're a magnet. Whatever you're feeling vibrationally positive, it's going to pull you to that situation.
Mhm.
Okay. But if you're looking down at it, you have yourselves all the way around you in every direction. But you slide from one to the other based on your choices and your
Right.
vibration. So you're
So
just
these
conscious
are
that's shifting.
our roundtable. We studied universal laws, and that sounds a
Mhm.
whole lot like what we studied.
Mhm.
You attract what you put out. Your vibrations match with
Well,
your
right
frequency.
now, we are at the top of 4D. Okay. We're at the end of the battle pretty much. But there is another higher density, a higher, I'll just go 5. There's a 5D version of you and a 6D, 7D, 8D, 9D in this photon belt. So,
Wow.
yeah, and that means you will meet yourself. You will meet that higher version of yourself on the
Oh,
left.
prepare now. Oh
Yeah.
boy.
So it's
Okay.
like we have to look at them like, God, I'm just a little 5D one. But no, we
Whew.
actually, we are the ones that came here from those higher dimensions to be God's pros. We were losing this football game. And God sent in some pros because he needed to win this game and guarantee it for everybody. So
Wow.
he knew he couldn't do it with these 4Ds and down. So God
Mhm.
incarnated a lot of souls that are higher density, the sixth, seventh, and eighth and ninth density. So
Yes.
we have some amazing beings that are walking around incognito. So like I know I came from the eighth dimension. I was in the eighth.
Well,
Huh?
one of the my versions of me, the higher density, is my eighth dimension. She's the one that helped. I guess I help me read tarot. She actually is the one that helps me get, other than the angels and guardian spirit guides. But
Yeah,
yeah, it's my higher self from the eighth dimension is the one
right.
that helps give me the
Exactly.
answers.
So, and it comes in handy whenever you speak to yourself on those different levels. And
Mhm.
because your vibration is flowing forwards, if you have like a thought about something in the past that you kind of regret or whatever, that's okay. But you know, you have an opportunity that you can change it for that other version of you on that line. Think of something
Mm.
positive. Think that
Wow.
I see him succeeding. I know that other version of me is going to succeed. And you do that
Beautiful.
in every aspect because they are you. And you're the one that's controlling it. So you could say, well, I want that best for this one, no matter what it is. It might have happened in your supposedly past, but
Right.
God's showing it to you or reminding it to you because that's another version of you from another timeline you would consider the past. So now
Hmm.
send it good vibes. Say, this is how I see it turning out. This is how I
Wow.
created it, you know, and
That's
give them that good love too. And then you carry that and you put it out and it comes back at you.
so we're not only manifesting for ourselves in this density, we're manifesting for ourselves in all densities, so to
Right.
speak.
Just like the higher density ones than us, they're doing the same thing for us.
Beautiful.
You know,
Beautiful. No wonder I argue with spirit when I'm reading tarot. Sometimes I'm arguing with myself.
yeah,
Hmm.
that's right.
I'm like, boy, you're bossy. I say that a lot. I know that the
Yeah.
chat will tell you that. Yeah.
Shoot, I've had some humdingers with my ego now. Let me tell you.
Oh, I know. It's rough. Speaking of tarot calls, I told you that we'll do this for about you said 45 minutes to an hour. I
Okay.
have your purple deck. If you would like to ask a question,
Well, I'm
you're
going to
more than
trust you to
welcome.
pull something and tell me because maybe there's something that you'd like to tell me. There's not really anything
Just
I
like
need to tell.
general reading, and okay, let's
Oh,
see if
I know what
spirit.
I can ask. I'm asking
Okay.
you to do it.
Oh, aha, okay.
So there you go.
All right.
This ought to be interesting.
Yeah.
Are you shuffling?
Yeah.
Are we going to do it in
It's
a
a
second?
process. I
Yeah.
shuffle as many times.
There's a picture behind me,
Uh-huh.
and I continue to get emails about that picture. Okay, just to put it in a nutshell, that's Vivian Lee from the Scarlett O'Hara from Gone with the Wind. So there you go. You don't have to send me an email.
Beautiful. Beautiful. All right. So I just pulled 4 cards for basic message. This is beautiful because it's not only for you, it's really for everybody.
That's right.
Um, that God is giving us a gift and we must take this wand. It's about action. Take action. Now is the time to take action, basically.
That's
That's
right.
what we're doing.
That's right.
This is 1 foot in and 1 foot out. We really need to decide that we're manifesting a new world for ourselves
That's right.
and that we have to make a decision that we're going to go. This is a collective celebration. This is what we're going to be doing. And you're part of our collective family. And we really need to stop doing this. And this is worry and anxiety and the negative frequency. This is what we stop doing. So those are the four cards that I pulled. And that's beautiful.
I think that's great.
And yeah,
I'm
it is.
excited already.
Yes. The base card is the 7 of Wands. That means we stand up against any negativity. We
That's right.
fight and we stand up for the positive, the good, the divine. So
Right.
that's a beautiful reading.
That's right. We're a family.
That's right. And we are. And we treat each other like family around here, including picking on each other because it's fun.
That's right.
All right. Well, Alisa, I really appreciate you coming on. And I know you're a busy person and you need to wind down because you're a working woman too.
Right.
I really appreciate you. And if you ever consider coming back on, maybe we can take some questions from the audience. Would you consider doing that?
I surely would. I would like to be able to help my brothers and sisters as much as I can. And that's one of the reasons why God got me out here so that I can help answer some of those questions. I might not have all of them, but at least I have some pretty good ones anyways.
What is some outgoing advice you could give to our collective family here? What do you think? Any final words of advice?
Oh, absolutely. Well, the first thing I'm going to say is, I sent you that song in the text.
Yes.
You can definitely share that with people. It's very humorous because I like.
I'm gonna put it up on my channel.
Yeah, you put it up there, and then that will lead you to the other songs that I have created because God's had me very busy with that. So I'd like to share that with my brothers and sisters so that you can enjoy a variety of new kind of music, all about love and stuff like this here. And the other thing is, my brothers and sisters, remember, you are everything that you see, no exception. So be kind to it.
That's right. That's beautiful. That is absolutely beautiful. And we do need to keep our frequency high. Do you think that it's possible that it can lower? There's so much doom and gloom out there, and we need to stay away from it.
Yeah. Well, send it love. You
Yeah.
know, if you send it out, guess what? It's gonna come back to you.
Yeah.
And just do it on a daily basis, and just don't give up, my brothers and sisters. This is a dream. You are walking around in a dream that is
Yes.
so vivid that you are locked in that dream because you
Mhm.
think this is real, and it's not. It's a
Right.
dream, and you are the director of this dream, and you can change it just by your frequency, your vibration, what you think, and what you say. So,
So that movie Matrix really was a documentary.
yeah,
It
pretty
really
much, yeah,
was.
pretty
It
much,
really
yeah.
was.
So
My
it's like they
goodness.
put it right in our faces, you know. It's like, yeah, whatever.
Well, I really appreciate your time, Alisa, and all the information you've given us. Like I said, we'll get together and we'll create another show where they can bring in their questions because I'm sure their wheels are turning. But you gave us plenty just to kind of spark. You sow a little seed. That's all it takes. It gets us thinking. Do you
Well,
think?
then we'll have to do this again. That means everybody's going to have to write their questions so that they'll know
Yes.
what to ask and stuff like this
Yes.
here. So that way we're prepped and ready for whatever comes next.
Absolutely. And the new world is going to be beautiful, but we start now. We
That's
start
right.
now.
It's a
We
beautiful world, my brothers and sisters. You just need to picture it in your mind and make it real because it is real and it's going to show itself. It
Yeah.
will show itself.
Yeah. And not to make humanitarian projects stressful. They're not meant to be
Right. It's supposed to be fun, you know?
Yes. This
No
is going to
worry. And, you know, just remember if you can create it in your mind, don't even worry about money. Just create it. You know, get
yes.
the idea down on paper. And that's what God told me to do. Stop thinking about money. Just
Mhm.
tell me what you want, you
Yeah.
know? And that's
Exactly.
pretty, if you can do that in your mindset, then God hears you better because you're giving him details on. It's like
Yes.
you can say, well, God, I want a car. And then he gives you a car. And you're like, wait a minute, I didn't want that. Well, you
Yeah.
didn't give me no details.
Yeah, you weren't. He's done that to me before. He said, "Well,
Yeah.
you weren't specific. So
Yeah.
exactly what did you want?" And now everything is detailed. I want this exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Mm-hmm.
and he listens, and he's such a wonderful father. He really is. And like I
Absolutely.
said earlier, he takes all that negative out there from the enemy and he turns it beautiful. That's how much love. He is love.
Absolutely. We are love.
That's right. That's
But
right.
thank you, Jen. I really have enjoyed this, my friend. And I liked your cards. I thought they were good ones. So,
Yes, yes. Anytime you need a reading, you just holler at me. I'd be more than happy to do that. But our family here has loved listening to you. I can see that from the chat. But I really appreciate you, Alisa. Thank you very
I
much.
appreciate all of you, my brothers and sisters. You are my family. And it is my goal to drag your ass across that finish line.
Yes. And where can they find you? Because you have a YouTube channel.
Yeah, I have a little bit of YouTube channel. Ain't nothing to brag about, but y'all can go over and check it out.
Your channel is 4 times bigger than mine, so I'm pretty sure it's not itty bitty. So
Now, I only got a few things on here as of recent. So, yeah, I got some videos over there that you can watch of other people that I've done interviews with. That'd be
mhm,
helpful in answering some of your questions. And of course, I'm going to, see if I can put yours up there too, Jen,
yeah,
so other people can see it as well.
yeah,
But if you have any questions that you would like to ask me,
mhm.
you can send them to my email, and that is freetheplanet at
Yes.
yahoo.com. That's easy to remember, my brothers and sisters.
Mhm.
So you can definitely send me your questions. It might take me a little bit to get back to you, but I do make an effort to answer all my emails because I
Yes.
love y'all. I really do.
Yes, beautiful. And I'll put all of that, including the song, up in my community section so everyone can enjoy and they'll know how to find you.
Absolutely. Yeah, I got my brother with that one. So, and it's
That
a
was a
UFO song,
hilarious
my
song.
brothers
I
and
loved
sisters.
it.
It's a UFO song, and I wrote it for my brother.
I
So
love it.
it's
I
pretty
love it.
cool.
All right. Elisa, go have the rest of your evening very blessed and know that we love you and I appreciate you very much.
I appreciate you too, and I love you, my sister.
All right. Love you too, darling. Have a good evening.
All right. Bye bye.
Bye bye. All right. Okay, family. Elisa's a busy woman. I didn't want to keep her too long. I wanted to introduce her to you guys, and we'll definitely have her back. But I hope you enjoyed that conversation and watch the community page. I'll put all the information up for her and her music. Beautiful songwriter. So, I hope you got a blessing out of it. With that being said, I will see you guys tomorrow on the round table. I will be hosting in potpourri, so bring your questions. All right. All right, guys. Remember, you gotta love yourself, right? It starts now. All right. Have a good evening and know that I love you. Bye, guys.